I am very personally excited for the next session. We are honored to have this panel as a part of the opening session. This panel is going to be joined by powerful and like-minded women leaders who will be discussing the current retail ecosystem and its business outlook. They will also be sharing their experiences, challenges, success stories, and ultimately how women can be a great force to drive the digital journey of the retail and services industry, empowering the nation's digital economy. Some of these women are personally responsible for my online shopping habits during COVID-19. So let me introduce you to them. Our first guest is co-founder of FashionValet and the Duck Group. She is also the group creative director of FashionValet, and she is none other than Vivy Yusof. Founded in 2010 as a fashion e-commerce company, the FashionValet Group today has opened 10 retail stores and counting, while Duck has opened stores in KLCC, Setia City Mall, One Utama, and Haji Lane in Singapore. Our next guest has over 20 years in the advertising, digital media, ad tech space in Southeast Asia. Ms. Diana Bu, currently, who is the Chief Marketing Officer of Lazada, Malaysia, brings an extensive digital marketing experience with a proven track record in partnership management and business growth. Prior to Lazada, Diana helmed country manager for iFix Malaysia and Brunei. Our third guest was recently named among the world's 50 most influential people, revolutionizing governance by Apolitical and World Economic Forum's Global Future Council on Agile Governance. Surina Shukri, the Chief Executive Officer of Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation, MDEC, brings 2 decades of work experience, including global MNCs, mid-market companies, and early-stage startups across the financial services, natural resources, and technology sectors. Lastly, but not least, the panel moderator, Yvonne Tan, the Assistant News Editor of StarBiz. And Yvonne has been in finance writing, research, and reporting for 16 years. This is a definitely very powerful panel discussion and not to be missed because I want to know how they managed to get me to spend all that money. I'm happy, but the panel is getting ready, so please stay tuned and we'll be back shortly.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Our discussion today is about the retail industry, in particular, women in retail. It's been said that although women make up more than half of the workforce of major, less than 3% of these companies actually have female CEOs. Today's conversation will center on the increasingly important role of women in retail, success and failure stories, as well as how the retail industry will help power up the digital economy in the country. All right. Welcome everyone on board. Vivy, Diana, and Surina. Would you guys like to just give a brief introduction about yourselves again, just very briefly? Maybe you could start with Vivy.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Very happy to be here at this conference. My name is Vivy Yusof. I am a retailer. I am the co-founder of FashionValet and Duck that dabbles in modest fashion. We started online 10 years ago, and now we have retail stores. So we're trying to build an omni-channel global brand.
Great. Diana?
Hi, I'm Diana, Chief Marketing Officer of Lazada. Been kept very busy for the last year since COVID hit us. So it's exciting times and very excited to be here, having Vivy and Surina on the panel along with us. So very happy to be here and look forward to a fruitful session.
All right.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Surina Shukri. I'm the CEO of Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation, or MDEC. We're a government agency, and my job is to help spur, or rather accelerate digital development and to make sure that folks like you all, Diana, Yusof, Vivy, Star, and everybody in the digital economy succeeds.
All right. Okay, so we can all agree that the past 1 year, it's been very different, right, from the previous years. I mean, with the COVID and the MCO and things like that. So what, in your view, has been the most challenging part in the past 1 year? I mean, for a business, Vivy, what has been your most challenging moment?
Yeah. Well, last year was such a blur, Yvonne. Honestly,
Right.
last year, because we're in the fashion industry, it was such a roller coaster. For us, firstly, obviously, we're in fashion, so we were very badly affected. Our sales went down, I think, in the beginning, almost 50%. No one wanted to buy new clothes during a pandemic.
Right.
And shoes. Who wants to buy shoes? Go out
Right.
go
Right.
there, right? And scarves is a large contributor to our business, so nobody wanted to buy scarves because they're at home, right?
Right.
And this happened during Ramadan, so
Okay.
it was the worst time possible. And because that's our peak period, that's our bread and butter, right? So it did affect us. And secondly, I think there were a lot of uncertainty on the retail sector. Can open shop, cannot open shop, can open
Yeah.
shop.
Open and close, right? Yes.
Yes. So I guess the biggest challenge is really dealing with the uncertainty. Targets were obviously out the door. It had to be revised like constantly. We had to pivot all products. And the biggest fear for me, as a business owner and as an employer, was to make sure we didn't have to retrench anyone.
Right.
So we had to be transparent. Everybody knew our financial position and what sales target to meet. And it was regular updates with the team. And alhamdulillah, like we managed to weather through. Moving to 2021, looking back in 2020, our worst time ever, we not only did not retrench anyone, we also did not impose any salary cuts.
Wow.
So I think that itself, I'm very grateful, and it's such a lesson for all of us that we really can get through anything.
Okay, Vivi, how big is your organization and how many people do you employ?
We have about 200 people.
200 people. So all 200 people in tech?
In tech?
Right.
No, so there's tech, there's the retail.
No, in tech, as in like you didn't cut any jobs and
right, in tech.
They will know, yeah.
There were no salary cuts and no retrenchment. And being in fashion, I think that's no easy feat.
I think you also had some launches, right? Lately, yeah.
We have launches almost every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is, I mean, there's demand obviously if you're having launches.
Yeah, so I think we had to be smart in product pivot. And during Ramadan, that was not easy because a lot of our product planning takes 6 months to 12 months in advance. So we had already committed to products, and then COVID happened, and we're like, okay, we have a whole bunch of baju kurungs. We have to sell it for Ramadan, right? So honestly, it wasn't ideal, but we had to do a lot of discounts. We had to do a lot of bundles, and whatever we could. We haven't committed with the supplier. We changed up the product, so more loungewear, more essentials like sanitizers, masks, and more easy to wear scarves for the Zoom calls. A lot of pivots.
So you managed to sustain the level of business, would you say, with all that pivoting, or you still saw a plunge in your sales?
We did, but honestly, it's not that bad. I think about 10%.
Okay. Oh, okay, that's not bad at all.
So I'm really proud of the team. I think they predicted well in advance that, okay, we have to change now, and everyone was on board. It was amazing.
Okay, right. Diana, how about Lazada? I mean, what has been the biggest challenge?
So last year was definitely a year of rapid change, right? Like Vivy said, I think COVID-19 hit us quite significantly.
Right.
A lot of businesses rather, and we saw consumer shopping habit change, and more people shifting online for their essential needs, and therefore accelerated the adoption of e-commerce, right? So before this, the digital transformation and digitizing of the business model is actually very challenging for some of the businesses.
Right.
They need to put in resources that they never had in the past, and they need to build new skills. So they have to pivot very quickly, like we said, right? The consumer change, its behavior is changing online, and they have to sustain their business. And we saw, actually, whatever Vivy said, we also saw the trend of fashion as a category does see a dip, but grocery was growing, right?
Okay.
So when the pandemic really hit us, and then when MCO was in effect, Lazada, we quickly think about like where are the areas that we can actually jump in and quickly help the SMEs, right? So that's where we launched our package Kedai Pintar, which is a stimulus plan. And through that plan, we saw 300% increase in new sellers onboarded last year, and they began to realize the distinct advantage of leveraging e-commerce to diversify their revenue streams. And even after like MCO was lifted, or rather, we went into the multiple types of MCO. People continue to stay online, and they are now able to offer their business, or rather their products to customers, whether it's online and offline. So we do see them being able to diversify their revenue streams in the rising demands, and they're able to offer the online shopping and boosting the digital economy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but Diana, I would think that Lazada would have seen a surge, or did Lazada also see a decrease in sales over the past 1 year? I mean, overall.
No, we didn't. So actually, the overall business, or rather the digital economy has grown, because you see the consumers that have come online has grown, right? Yeah. So we're not the only e-commerce platform. Everyone's got their own,
favorite, right?
Yeah, exactly. So everyone's got their own favorite, and there are also small businesses that start up. And there are other local e-commerce provider that came up, and delivery services and so on. So I think the growth is there, and everyone's that has that e-commerce channel are enjoying the growth. And Lazada's not like, our revenue did not we don't really talk about this very much, but it's still on an upward trend growth of multiple axes. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I can set some broad macro context to that. So clearly, last year was a crazy year. The whole world was not able to move, and so therefore, when it comes to business, online businesses was the way that consumers actually and businesses would transact. So that's the power of digital right there, connecting buyer and seller. So what we saw last year was the rise in e-commerce. And so in fact, the official statistics are not out yet, but what we saw was the GMV of the e-commerce industry almost more than doubled last year alone. And Google has put out some statistics saying that we saw 5 years worth of consumer digitalization in that 1 year alone. So everybody now is much more comfortable buying online. And so therefore, the big challenge really is how do you transact in a world that's digital by default? So if you are savvy like Vivy, very good at pivoting, they know what to do. But we've got a large swath of the economy where it's primarily retail. So our retail sector, our SMEs and micro SMEs now all of a sudden are saying, oh my God, it's digital by default. What do I do?
Right.
Before, in years prior, I'm sure Lazada, you would agree as well. We're always telling people, come la, go online, come la, go online. But last year was literally the year everybody was going around saying, yo, how allowed to go online? How allowed to go online? And so therefore, one of the things that we did last year to help overcome this challenge was a nationwide campaign. It was one of the programs under the stimulus plan, Penjana. So Penjana in particular, and it's partnering with the private sector, companies like Lazada and FashionValet even, help onboard micro SMEs onto online.
Okay.
So last year alone on the seller side, more than 245 companies benefited from this, and about 45,000 new micro SMEs were onboarded to different e-commerce platforms, including Lazada, Shopee, and others. And then on the consumer side, we also saw a large increase. We had this campaign called Shop Malaysia Online, and so in that 6 months alone, 1.2 billion of sales coming from about 7.5 million consumers. So they're all like on board on this e-commerce journey.
So you would say that last year, I mean, it was a huge jump in terms of okay, all right, interesting. Okay, okay, let's get on to the crux of the discussion, which is basically women in retail, right? So in your view, right, as women business people, how uneven is the distribution of women leaders versus men leaders in the retail industry? Is there an obvious gap, or do you think it's closing, or do you think it doesn't exist? Maybe Vivi, you could just
Sure.
address this.
For me, I think Yvonne, like we've become a fair way, but we still have a long way to go. I'm not sure of the stats exactly for retail sector, but I think largely the businesses in Malaysia. Um, I was reading this news article where in 2016 it was 15% women leaders,
Right.
and now it's 30 something percent. So we've doubled, and so there is definitely progress, which is great. Even in your the virtual conference banner for the retail, right? I see a good mix of male and female leaders, so that's something to say as well.
Okay.
That's great, right? So from my own experience as well, being a retailer myself, I deal with people in the retail industry, and I've got to say, I've met a lot of amazing women in retail. One example is Dato Joyce, who basically runs Pavilion.
Pavilion, yeah.
And very very good at her job as well, right? So I do think, having said that, there needs to be more increase in women leadership, and there are many role models already, right? It's been generations and generations of gender disparity. But what's great is that there's a lot of conversation around it now. So I think what women need help with right now is to help level the playing field. But once level, then base us on merits. I don't think any woman wants to have a seat at the table to fill a quota. I think
right.
We want to be there because of merit. So I always tell women I meet, especially the young ones, make full use of the seat at the table, engage, talk, discuss, rise with substance and not with fluff.
Right. Okay. That's true. Sorry?
I said
Surina, you want to add something?
Yeah, I said on the entrepreneur side, though, we are seeing lots of female entrepreneurs in the retail space. Very, very encouraged by that. I'll share again another statistic. So we have this program called Usahawan, which is literally teaching micro entrepreneurs how do you start your digital journey online. So with digital marketing, for example. So over the years, we've helped train 365,000 people. 65% of that is female entrepreneurs. In addition to that, the other really encouraging female entrepreneur statistic is what we're doing in the rural space, the rural e-commerce. And so last year we started piloting some one-stop digital centers, primarily for rural entrepreneurs. 79% of them are female entrepreneurs. So we're certainly very, very excited and encouraged by that statistics. I think generally speaking, retail in particular, you see a lot of female representation.
Right. Okay. Let's move on to the third question. What kind of advantage do women leaders have over their male counterparts when it comes to running a business? I mean, obvious question, but not so obvious. What kind of advantage?
Maybe I can contribute to that. So
yeah,
I don't want to go into women versus men thing. It's not about that.
You don't want to start a
war. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I actually think women and men are built differently. I really do believe that. And I love to read. I even do book reviews on YouTube. But recently I read this book called The Female Brain that basically confirms my belief that women's brain and men's brain are different. And it's found that women crave more the emotional connection. So women are great at connecting with people and understanding the emotions behind everyone and every situation. So I feel this is a great advantage in retail specifically, because in retail, we really deal with people all the time, front facing, customers especially. And in this day and age where customers are really the drivers, telling retailers, telling brands what they like, what they don't like, what to improve, what to stop. All of this is like free feedback, especially with social media. So we're so accessible with instant feedback, instant complaints, right? So we must put people in our retail teams that are, able to connect with people and do something about that feedback. This is really not, though, to discredit my male colleagues. I have superb male colleagues who are just kicking it at work, right?
Right.
So at the end of the day, it's all up to the individual.
Yeah, it's more of the individual, right? Yeah.
Individual, correct. But it's up to us then to use our strengths and apply
Mm.
them at work in the best way possible.
Okay. But what do you think is the most, I mean, if you could put it to, if you could put it down to something, what do you think females, would have advantage of? I mean, is there a single advantage that, women have? Maybe
Mm,
the softer part, maybe the persuasion part, maybe the, yeah.
to put it
Do you
simply,
think,
I
or,
think emotional connection. So
okay.
whatever they choose to do with that emotional
But
connection.
some men are emotional too, right? I mean,
Yeah, my husband is. But yeah, again, it's not really to generalize, but I do feel that we are built differently and we have certain advantages than the other.
okay. Okay. Dinah, would you have a
Okay,
comment on that?
so for me is if I have to pick one that is very typical associated to women, actually I'm very in sync with what Vivi is saying, right? I don't think it's that competition. We are very different. But if there's one that I have to pick just to have this topic is people like to talk about women being able to multitask, but
Right.
but I
But
personally
that's true,
don't.
right? I mean, that's sort of true,
I'm not sure if
relatively.
it's true because I can't multitask. For me, it's like always one thing at a time. What's
Okay.
more urgent and what's more important. Then I can do like more proper rather than like touch and go. So in my opinion, an advantage was that is usually overlooked is that competitive edge of soft skills, right?
Right.
Where we with these soft skills we're able to build trust. And
Right.
we tend to focus on inspiring, caring, encouraging the team, and therefore motivate them. So we I think I personally tend to spend a lot more time in terms of talking to the team, detecting their aspiration, put them in roles that can help them grow. And if they have any fears, I try to remove those fears for them, and
Right.
encourage them to be in that trusted environment to be able to come up with inspiring ideas so that we can innovate and stuff like that, right? So that's where I'll say that the advantage is that empathy and that soft skills.
But people have coined this term lady boss, right? Right. To denote someone obviously more, tough compared to male bosses. I personally think that lady bosses are scarier than male bosses.
I think
What
that's
do you think?
by the men who are intimidated by the women. That's all.
Oh, okay. So it's the intimidation thing.
No, I mean like there's. I think instead of focusing on that. I mean, like you can when there's change, there's always there's always resistance to change, and so women in leadership is if you rewind back like thousands of years, I mean, this is still a relatively new phenomenon, and we still have much more way to go. But instead of focusing on that, what we should be focusing on is literally, I tend to think of because you asked what's the natural advantage that women have. Think of it from a consumer standpoint, from a business standpoint, from a population standpoint. We're half of the population, and so therefore the holders of the purse for the most part, household. So as women business leaders, as women leaders, we tend to understand. We have the ability to understand more because and the workforce more because that's the population.
Yeah, agree. Okay. Okay. The next question we'll address on the digital transformation industry. What would you say to businesses, which are still, they don't want to jump on the digital bandwagon? I read somewhere it was reported that the Japanese-based luxury car bag maker, he absolutely doesn't want to go digital. He quotes his quote, to keep ahead with the times, people focus on productivity and efficiency or convenience. If we chase after those, we can't make products that complement and are useful to our lives. So, what do you think? I mean, he doesn't want to go online. He prefers the one-on-one touch, the personal touch. So what do you think? I mean, do you think that businesses like this have an opportunity to survive in the current times?
So I tend to think of it as, what has digital really done? It's connecting consumers, customers with the product a lot faster. So at the end of the day, in this digital world, customer is actually the ultimate winner. And so today, customers are expecting um, um, to transact digitally now. And so I don't think that if you're not able to transact that way and you're not serving your customer, if you have, so for this guy, if his customer demands still one-on-one, perfectly fine. But I think for the most part, consumers now are demanding to be able to be able to
have the
transact
choice, right?
convenience. And what we're trying to see, they want the choice. It's anytime, anywhere. If I'm at a store and if I'm at a mall, I want to be able to buy from there. If I'm at home, I want to be able to.
So it's the omni-channel retail thing, not so much purely digital or not so much purely, brick and mortar, but more of the omni-channel, which is a combination of both, right?
Yeah, but generally speaking, I think that we today are in a world that's digital, business world that's digital by default. So if you are not making your way to go on your digital journey, then you will be actually left behind. I don't think it's optional anymore.
Okay. How about you, Diana? What do you think about this? Do you think they are losing out if they don't go online?
I'm on the digital platform, so I do agree. I do agree on the omni-channel. Not just the business, right? I do agree. Customer is at the center of everybody's business, right? And if you don't win the customer, you're not catching up. And to us, it's not only just sell. It's also engagement. It's also creating that whole, how do we entertain people so that they keep coming back to us and so on. So it's very broad in terms of really using data to understand the consumer and build your business around consumer engagement strategies, right? Whether it's your product, is your product user-friendly? If it's not user-friendly, they're just going to turn you off and goodbye. And what is the consumer behavior? What are they, what is the trend now, right? So we have to quickly learn all these trends and be able to fulfill the consumer's needs.
Right. Okay.
I guess,
sorry, Vivy.
If I could offer a slightly different view to Surina and Diana, basically, for FashionValet and Duck, 80% of our business is online. So we are very much digital focused. But I do find that with COVID, with the pandemic, so many businesses are forced online. Online marketing is just crazy now. I see ads so much. It's interesting, right? So the online space is getting pretty crowded. So I think for a brand, for a retailer, not so much a platform, but for a brand to really stand out, you need to start thinking about your physical presence and visibility, because people are not going to stop going to malls. So you need to be strong in both. I really believe that, digital and also physical stores.
Okay, but for the person just starting out in business, I mean, obviously going to the brick and mortar route would take a lot of capital, right? So then the digital route would be the obvious route, right?
Oh no, I think that's a very wrong perception that digital is cheap.
It's not cheap, but it's relatively easier, because to build a brick and mortar business, obviously you have to rent the place, you have to. Is that not more? Does that not cost more than digital businesses?
I think to open a store, you'd have at least a few $100,000 to open one store, right? For online as well, there's a lot of investment cost into the server, into the warehousing, into operations, into payments, and all sorts of tech enhancements constantly. So to say the investment is less is not true.
It's not true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also with shipping, for a company like ours, we ship internationally, we ship all over the world.
But then I was thinking more of a startup business, not so much a business of your size, but more of a person who wants to start up a business. So the digital route will obviously be a cheaper route.
To get started, it is much easier now these days. The cost of entry is actually a lot lower, because typically now what we're seeing is the rise of social commerce too, i.e. you have a product, you can put it on, you can sell via Instagram, you can get it delivered.
Yeah.
It's the cost of starting a business is actually a lot lower now. And then as your business grows, so the point I was trying to make just now around digital, it's not just so much the selling portion of it. When you think about the digital transformation of retail in particular, in other industries too, business, there's the front side of digital, i.e. how you sell, the middle side, i.e. so can you leverage digital tools to manage your inventory better, to manage your customers, to do mass emails and do all these different things that would traditionally be very manual and require a lot of people. Now digital actually allows you to do that, so lower your overhead costs. And then of course, how do you use digital to then innovate thereafter? So this is what I was talking about as far as like it's no longer an option. Like you have to really think about how do you leverage digital to be better, faster, and cheaper,
right?
And also improve your overall customer experience. And customer experience can be, it's not all online. It could also, how do you engage? And so you could engage offline as
both ways, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So if I can just add the consumer engagement that I was referring to is that we first started everything online, right? So that whole online experience is how can we engage consumer online, and that's where we did the shoppertainment, live streaming and stuff like that. But last year, what we did was we collaborated with a mall and we did O2O. So online to offline interaction. So basically, we have millions of customers online. How do we also drive them to a mall for that experience, right? And believe it or not, on a weekend, we still are able to help drive increase traffic to a mall by, like, if I'm not wrong, 2 to 3 times more traffic over the weekend. So you think mall would have their own traffic already, but we could be driving more. So when we look at this omni-channel focus, we actually are building that whole 360 consumer experience. Wherever the consumer are, wherever they choose to be, we're there. Right. So yeah, but we didn't do a lot of the O2O after that because of the COVID and the limitations. So we continue to build the business online. But if you ask me, will we go back to O2O? Yes, definitely.
So that's the way forward. You agree, right? Right. Okay. Can we take some questions now? Guys, we'll just do one last question before we take some questions from the floor. Well, what is the single biggest challenge you face as a I think this is a bit similar to the earlier question, but what is the single biggest challenge you face as a female in the industry? Just one each. I think it's a similar question.
Maybe I can start.
Yes, Vivy, yes.
On a more very real issue is what a lot of women face who have started families. So I say the single biggest challenge for a woman leader is to juggle home and career, right? So I think in that sense, a lot of women can relate to this, and a lot of women talk about this as well, which is great because now we have a support system. And I think the easiest solution for that is definitely to have a really good support system. And with your husband, especially your spouse, you need to have that expectations talk of like, what can you do? What can't you do? What do each other, what roles do each other play for that? So I think a lot of women don't do that and then end up getting really stressed.
Vivy, you are very open with your family life and your work life and through your Instagram account, right? You have, I think, quite a following. Would you say that I mean, you and your husband work together, right?
Yes.
So you guys founded the company together?
Yes.
So he does the operations side and you do more of the marketing and selling?
He's the CEO of the whole.
Yeah, he's the CEO, right?
I'm more of the creative function.
Okay, so obviously, I mean, you work well together, right?
We're okay.
So obviously.
Yes, we do.
Okay. Surina, for people who like to start businesses, right? Digital businesses. I mean, where does MDEC come in that sense? Does MDEC provide any support for people who want to start businesses?
Yeah, so we provide a lot of support, and it's really around the education aspect of it, because it's the know-how. We share the know-how. So I mentioned just now, one of the things that we've done over the years, which has quite expanded, as part of our initiative to help educate micro entrepreneurs. It's this program around digital marketing. So it's really, and we're partnering with the large tech platforms for the content, but it's basically helping to teach people, how do you go online? How do you leverage social media? How do you set up your store? How do you go on this journey, if you will? And so we've got like a specific program around that. And then last year, because we were trying to actually scale that a little more, we were partnering with the private sector to help. So we were, so it's like platforms like Lazada would help train the micro entrepreneurs to actually get the know-how to be able to come online. How do you onboard yourself to these platforms? But that doesn't just stop there. And so it's literally more education and training. If you go to goecommerce.my, free online modules to help entrepreneurs go on their digital journeys. And then that doesn't just continue to stop there at the e-commerce side of things. We have this program, this program called 100 Go Digital, which is all about like helping businesses digitalize the middle part of their business and whatnot. So
it's at all levels in that sense. It is for the one who wants to get into business, and then the one which is already in business. So you provide support.
Exactly.
So how do they do that? I mean, how do they get in touch with MDEC? Just through the website?
So you can go to goecommerce.my, and so there's a lot of information on there about just starting your e-commerce journey, and then that links to a lot of the other things that we do as well. But that's a starting point. And of course, all this started with in-person training when we first started, through our network of trainers. But then everything pivoted online last year, and now 90% of the training is done online for that. And so we've got plenty of success stories in terms of just being able to know how to make that pivot from offline to online. We continue to provide this know-how around that.
All right. Okay, maybe we'll take some questions from the audience. There's one question here for any one of you guys who think it's suitable. The question is, how will the O2O landscape change for the retail industry in Malaysia by 2030? And what's your advice to startups on this? Anyone?
Do you want me to take
Diana?
this?
Yeah, Diana.
Okay, so for us, it's like I think there's a few stats that Surina has shared, right? So like SMEs are coming on board, they are digitizing their business and so on. So for us is more of how do we as the platform connect the consumer to the sellers, right? The sellers have businesses, and we're the platform. As the platform, we have responsibility to connect these two ends, right? To us, customers are both the sellers and the customers who are buying. So how do we facilitate this as seamless as possible? So we use technology to enhance that customer experience, but also if the consumer is offline and they prefer offline, then how do we also connect that? Right. So to me is we're using multiple channels, like even on television, when we do ads on television, we try to put in QR codes and we're trying to put in stuff that connects them to the apps, so that we make we make the shopping experience of the purchasing behavior as easy as possible for the consumer, so that the sellers can benefit.
Right.
So for us, is in terms of training the sellers, we have Lazada University, and on Lazada Lazada University is where all the new sellers, if they want to join Lazada, they sign up on Lazada University.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yes, we do have. And on Lazada University, they sign up, they get a first 30 to 90 days, no, 60 to 90 days hand-holding. So they have a dedicated person who would actually hand-hold, answer their every single question, because we can't do face-to-face. So we give them a someone that they can talk to, someone that's familiar with, and they can ask any question, from the most simple things like, how do I print my, delivery
Is this
airway
free,
bill and
or
so on.
is it at a fee?
It's free. It's free. So at the moment, it's free. It's part of our package, Kedai Pintar. We work very closely with MDEC, actually, in terms of us growing the SMEs, right? So it's all free. We funded it. We actually removed all the barriers of entry so that they can come in and learn the business in the first 30 to 90 days. And in the 30 to 90 days, they get hand holding. We have business partner who would, call them, check in on them. How are you doing? Are you taking the right photos? Are your store beautiful enough for consumer to, because if your store is not beautiful, people don't trust you, right? So those
if it's too beautiful, people don't trust you also, right?
No, not necessarily. so trust is important when you shop online, yeah. So those are the things that we do. But connecting online to offline is something that, as a platform, we do constantly. So how do we help the sellers first set up their store? And then eventually they have to participate in our campaign, so that if we run offline campaign, they participate and they get to enjoy that traffic that we drive, right? So like I said, it's engaging consumers at every single touch point, and try to connect them online to offline, whether it's radio station, whether it's TV station, whether it's at the mall, we try to connect the dots.
Okay.
Yeah, for us as well, if I could add to that, basically our group is basically trying to make it more omni-channel, and that's our strategy moving forward. So again, completely agree with what Diana said. It's very important for you to be at every touch point of the customers, right? For us, 80% online, 20 retail. But
80% online too.
Yeah, but it's still very important to have both digital strength and also physical visibility strength, right? So for us, for example, we have our app, but we also have store mode on our FashionValet app. So before you go to the store, you can already check what's in the store. So if there's something you can't find there, then maybe it's in another store. So you can actually browse before you make the trip to go to the store. And then once you're in store, you can also shop online, and your profile is basically everywhere. And I think they shouldn't even discount mobile shopping and social shopping. Don't discount the power of WhatsApp, the power of Telegram. I think whatever tech enhancements that we're doing, we always focus on mobile first and then website. So there's a shift in shopping online to now living online. So I think people need to really care about that.
Okay. How many stores? Sorry. How many stores do you have, Vivy? Physical
right
stores?
now, I have 10 stores, but
10 stores.
we're doing a rollout plan of a lot more stores. It was supposed to be 2020, but we paused that first, so hopefully can roll out soon.
Okay. Yes, Surina, you.
Yeah, so I was trying to add, because the question really touches upon what do we expect in the future, where are we going? So I would summarize it as three things. So number one, both Diana and Vivy talked about it. It's the integration of technology, because customers now it's nonstop. You're engaging all the time. Of course, there's positives and negatives of that, but as a seller, we leverage that. And so the integration of technology, today we've got social buying, leveraging all the platforms. We're going to start to see a rise in live streaming. That's another trend that's happening now. And then Vivi talked a little bit about the whole virtual stores. And then content marketing is another one, where you don't even realize that you're marketing, because you might be reading an article about something. And, that could be linked directly to something else. So content marketing. So integration of technology. Two, it's data, because businesses now are as you transact more digitally, you'll start to collect more information about your customers. So then you're able to target your customers even more. So then Vivi will know that, hey, I'm actually shopping in the morning, and so she'll send my ads in the morning and whatnot. So it's leveraging data to target your customers. And then finally, it's this trend of cross-border. And so we'll start to see, because as shipping costs go down, as there's trade, particularly in ASEAN, there's talk right now about like, how do you do more ASEAN transactions? And so we'll start to see more cross-border. In fact, like government is always telling we need more exports. And so we're supporting all the businesses out there and really encouraging, giving businesses the know-how to be exporters. And so those three things, I think it's the future.
Okay. But the growth in ASEAN is definitely not equal. I think Malaysia and Singapore make up about a third of the entire online retail, and with the rest really just struggling to catch up. I think only about 6% in Philippines, right, do online shopping. So
they're catching up really fast, and so that's why. And what you'll see is the adoption part goes quite quickly. And so if you're not starting to think already now, if you're a business, you're not thinking now, like what's your export strategy? Because the adoption will come quite quickly, as we've seen in Malaysia, for example.
Okay, let's take another question. I think Vivy made this remark earlier, that remark about how women are probably more emotionally sensible. It's interesting, this viewer notes. Do you think the fact that men are less encouraged to express their feelings contribute to this phenomenon? And somehow it shows in retail businesses, but this is debatable, Iman.
Wow, okay, that's very interesting. Wow. I didn't say women are emotionally sensible. I just said women are more emotionally connected. We have a crave for connection. I can't speak on behalf of men, but I don't think we encourage them not to speak out. I think we do ask them, like, what do you think? What are your feelings about this? So I'm not really sure how to answer that question. But I think, yeah, I've never really thought of it that way. But I know that men and women are built differently.
Okay. The Singapore one. There's this question from Singapore, for Vivy, as from Esther Min. She says, "Thank you all panelists for your valuable insights." She says that she's a community builder based in Singapore, and she is keen to know your thoughts on the key strand of digital, specifically in the Malaysian market.
Sorry, the key what?
The key strand of the digital landscape, I presume. The digital landscape. What is the key strand of the Malaysia's digital landscape? What do you think is our key strand?
Strength. What you mean? What we're strong at, right?
Yeah, what we're strong at. Yeah.
I think Malaysia, we're very fortunate very fortunate to start a business in Malaysia, because there's already quite a developed ecosystem. When we first started, it was more difficult to find like all these tech guys, the web developer, but now it's just so much easier. There's so much support, MDAC, Magic, all of it, right? So I think being in Malaysia, there are so many establishments and organizations that help businesses go digital. Look at Surina, for example, right? And then you have the power of really strong marketplaces like Diana's one, that you can leverage on. So I definitely think if you want to go digital, Malaysia is an amazing country to start.
Okay. I suppose you agree, Surina.
Oh, yes, thank you very much for saying that. But I would also say, it is, when you're thinking about businesses, at the end of the day, businesses are about customers, right? And so when you think about the digital customer, Malaysians are actually quite advanced and developed in that. So the willingness to try. So certainly this past year alone, we saw a lot of consumers, like I said just now, 5 years worth of consumer digitalization compressed in 1 year. So certainly the market, the customers, the consumers are very digitally savvy in that regard, willing to try. And then even when you look at the platform economy, so innovation, so Uber and Grab, when they first started, it wouldn't have succeeded had it not been for the willing customer, in this case Malaysians, to try that out. And so therefore, I say from a consumer standpoint, one of the advantages of Malaysia is the fact that you've got quite a developed consumer population, and so which makes it very easy to test out new things for digital businesses.
Previously, like a few years back when we just started, people were like, I don't have online banking lah, or I don't have credit card lah.
Yeah.
How do I buy on FashionValet? So what they would do is we would email them the confirmation, and then they would have to go to the bank to deposit the money, take the
Oh,
receipt, scan the receipt, email it back to us. That was
Yeah.
that
eight
was
years ago.
when?
Yeah.
8 years ago. Okay.
Yeah, and then I think thanks to the investment, foreign investment from all the marketplaces and educated all Malaysians to shop online, I think now we're such fast adopters of technology.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Exactly.
If I can also add one more point, I think the MCO helped us like
Yeah,
also come
definitely.
together, right?
Yeah.
I think last year when we saw the Cameron farmers having to throw away vegetables, and when we jump in to help them, all of Malaysians were like so supportive of it. And then after a while, we started to run campaigns like, you know, with the government, Jom Beli Local and stuff like that, right? So it creates this whole, you know, coming together, supporting local businesses and
Yes.
helping local grow together as opposed to, you know, buying overseas and so on. So
Yeah.
that's something I think as a whole has actually grown. Malaysians not only are savvy shopping online, but they're also very, you know, supportive of local businesses. And
Yeah.
we're starting to see that in that younger generation of
Right.
the shoppers. Yeah.
That's
Definitely.
the context of FashionValet, is supporting local businesses, right? So
Yeah.
really thanks to Malaysian customers that we are where we are today.
Right. Diana, I just want to just one question about the quality of the products that are sold online, right? Uh, I mean, a lot of people want to know whether stuff that they buy online is it the real stuff or is it fake stuff? Because some of the prices are like super. It's unbelievable, right? So what are
Yeah,
your thoughts
So
on
that's actually a very good question. So as an online marketplace, our customer trust that when they purchase something through our platform, not only that we provide great assortment and quality products at competitive prices, but with an unparalleled customer experience, right? So we need to preserve that trust. We invested greatly in protecting the integrity of Lazada marketplace for consumers, as well as the buyers and sellers, right? So we have we use tech, right? So we have a robust system that checks and controls.
Okay.
And our risk team have these very stringent policies to measure and curb any fraudulent and illicit trading of goods on our platform. So we will remove counterfeit items as soon as we are aware of them. That's why we have Last Mall, right? Last Mall is the branded destination where we are able to attract trust like huge brands like the Nikes of the world. They will not come to our platform if they can see a lot of counterfeits being sold on our platform, right? So we would suspend or ban sellers from our platform who violate the law. And our team works very closely in terms of like, you know, consulting with local authorities.
But they're allowed to sell, right? I mean, goods that are
Like I said, if
not original.
if we are aware of it, we will remove
you will
them.
take action.
And we will yes, we will take action. If we're not aware of it, then if it happens, then we would if it happens within our platform, then we will do our best, but rather that we need to be informed. But on a day-to-day basis, we have this risk team to take care of the you know, checking the health of the platform. So we have Last Mall, and Last Mall is the branded destination to create shopping of authentic products. Right. So we give it's guaranteed 100% authentic if you buy on Last Mall, and we give up to 5 times return of your money back if you bought something that is not authentic on Last Mall. Yeah.
Vivy, do you also have a fake product?
No, for us, like I'm very interested in what Diana said, because actually Duck is very impacted by that. Duck has so many counterfeits, thousands of sellers on InstaShop.
Imitation is the best form of flattery, right?
Sure, but it's so annoying. but it does affect us a lot. It's a lose-lose for everyone. For the customers, they think they're buying an original product. For the brands, it really affects the brand identity and the brand trust, because when they receive the products, obviously is a subpar, is below par. Like it's just given in plastic, it's just all over, it's terrible. I've seen the photos and all that. So I think we work with marketplaces a lot, Lazada and all of Lazada's competitors that sell that has Duck counterfeits sold on them. And I'd say that they have been very supportive, but the onus is always on brands to tell them. You know, so I do think marketplaces can do a lot more in taking a proactive approach more than reactive. I think especially because the sellers, the counterfeit sellers, have become more sophisticated, more advanced. They find loopholes around it. Like for example, if Lazada cannot put DUCK, then they'll put D asterisk asterisk K.
Also, but it still can be,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
spotted lah, right?
So they're smart, right? So
Yeah, very smart.
very smart. So I
Yeah.
think if I may, Diana, give you some suggestions on as a brand owner, right? Maybe marketplaces could invest in like some visual algorithm to like detect logos, maybe prominent logos. For us, maybe the dark silhouette, and many brands right out there. And second, I think maybe it'll be interesting to see if marketplaces demand now that sellers have to put their business registration number on it, because
Oh,
once you put business registration number, you will be a bit more fearful of selling illegal products. So yeah,
You,
that's just my
yeah.
2 cents.
Actually, Lazada does require business registration. So
Okay,
yes, we do.
is it
So
public?
it's a must. So if you don't have a business registration, you can't operate on Lazada.
Okay.
So it's part of the onboarding that we require. So that's how we control as well. And if somebody does break the rule, we know who to go after, not just a person which we don't know who. So
right.
so those are the things that we do to protect. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go on to the next question. What are the major challenges to be anticipated in e-commerce, mainly for those owners transitioning from the traditional way to the digital way? What are the main challenges
For
to
me,
be
I guess from a
anticipated?
brand's perspective, a retailer's perspective, is definitely competition. It's online marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Online digital marketing is really a skill. So you really got to find somebody experienced and very skilled to do digital marketing for you. Is really different than physical retail marketing. So any brand to stand out now, I really believe that you need to be a standout in your niche. So if you're promoting fast service, you've got to be the fastest. If you're promoting cheap, you've got to be the cheapest. You've got to almost go to extremes to actually get people's attention. There are a lot of middle safe players that I think that part is very crowded, and I think you'll drown if you play it safe. So you've got to find that one standout in your product, that one USP that you just want to shout.
So how do your products stand out? I mean, what do you
So
um
for Duck, we've been around for 7 years. So people know us as the premium line for scarves, right? So we never have sister lines to drop our prices. We never play in that because there are so many competitors already there. And we really play on the packaging, on the purple. A lot of brands like to experiment. But for us, for 7 years, from day one until now, people know us for purple. So we really just shout out purple and kind of own the color. So catching people's attention, making sure quality products are there. Catching people's attention is one thing, but if your product isn't great,
yeah,
um,
then how do you sustain that, right? You can't catch their attention the second time lah.
so it's all going to be like a combination of everything, including physical stores as well as digital presence.
Okay, okay. Okay, one more question. This one. Why is it that this question comes from Sandra Ng. Why is it that when we have mostly women on the panel, the questions are centered around men, women, attitudes, emotional differences? Why do we need to change this? I kind of agree because this whole women thing is always, it's been debated for the longest time. I mean, why is it even an issue at times? Why do women have to go? Why are women penalized in this sense? I mean, why are the questions never centered on men? Right? So is this I mean, what are your thoughts on this? Is this just exclusive to women? Why do we always talk about women having to, balance things and stuff? Why aren't these questions, directed at men?
Honestly, for me as invitees and guests of seminars, I have no idea why I'm always being called for women,
I know, right? Yeah.
retail women, these women entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
I would love to be on a panel with
Yeah.
a
Okay.
more mixed panel and talk about men and women working together, playing up our strengths together. I find it really sad when there is a lot of talk about women and women retail, women this, women that, but influence is all women.
I get what you mean.
Yes, where are the men? The men need to be in this conversation as well.
Okay, and one more question. No more questions. That's all. Okay, guys. Do you guys have any last minute wrap up comments that you'd like to make before we wrap it up?
Well, maybe if I can go first.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having all of us on this panel. I think if I could leave the audience with 3 takeaways, number one, there needs to be a merits-based approach to putting both men and women in leadership roles, but only after there is a level playing field. And number 2, digital is important, but as space becomes more crowded, you really need to think of a more omni-channel strategy for all brands, including physical stores. That's why for Duck, we're rolling out more stores, i.e. more touch points, right? And number 3, the last one from me is just play out your strengths. So if women are scientifically proven to be more emotionally connected, then play that up to your career and consider climbing the ladder in retail industry.
Okay.
Thank you.
Diana?
Okay, so for me is don't be afraid of digitalizing of your business. It's not that scary. Where we have people here to help the businesses to come on board. First, don't be afraid. I think you need to have that courage to be able to pivot your business so that you are there where the consumers are. That's one. 2 is build that uniqueness and awareness of your brand so that people know who you are, especially in the local business, right? A lot of people like to be a me too. What is your unique selling point, and how can you be competitive, right? Because otherwise you'll just be like, sometimes you go to a platform and you search for certain things, and when you search for one item, all the same item appears. Like you want to stand out, right? You want to stand out. So put in a little bit more effort in building your brand and building your store so that people recognize you over time. And yeah, keep exploring, keep innovating.
All right. Surina?
So I come back to number 1, customer centricity. So know your customer, really, really, really understand, because at the end of the day, digital is all about making it better, faster, cheaper, and improving that customer experience. We talked about customers. And at the end of it, the third thing is just own it. So there's a lot of talk about women this, women that. It's just own it. Leverage your strengths and go for it.
All right. So we've come to the end of the panel session. Thank you so much for joining us, and thanks once again, and thank you to all the viewers as well. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.